Welcome to Coffee and the Bull.
Is for those of you that are overweight and you say I'm going to lose 100 pounds in 6 months or whatever your goal is, you're going to have somebody.
That's a lot of weight in 6 months.
Bro, I don't know. Crazier things have happened. You're going to have somebody who says you can't do that. I mean, I love Mike to death. He just did it. He was like, man, 100 pounds in 6 months. Not saying he's wrong. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But it's the same thing. When back in a long time ago when I was in the military, I was overseas, and I told my first sergeant, I was like, hey, boss, I'm going to quit smoking. And he was like, no, you're not. I made it 3 days before he was like, you're going to start smoking again because, number one, you're an a-hole. Number two, you're not focused. You're not doing anything because you've trained your body to take a break. And that break is that cigarette. And by you saying, no, if I take this break, I'm going to go smoke, you're not giving your brain the what it's used to. So you're going to start again.
Right.
And, you're going to keep going. And it wasn't in my best interest to quit smoking for me to continue to smoke. It wasn't in my best interest. Obviously, smoking's bad, and I shouldn't have been doing it. But it was in the best interest of the mission that we had at hand. We were in a third world country, and, obviously I needed to be focused and on my game. And it isn't that he didn't care about me, because he did. But he also knew that by me quitting doing that,
you're distracted.
I'm off of it. Yeah, my game's not on point. And so in reality, while it may have in the long run harmed me, in the short run, in the current situation, it was the best thing for me was to not do that. And so that's kind of where I'm going is the moment you start telling people what your goals and your ambitions and everything else are, there's people out there, they're just going to shoot you down. And then there's the people that you're going to see through that are like, you can do it. And you're like, nah, that was fake. You don't actually believe in me. Right. You're just saying that to patronize me. So if you're going to make a resolution or a goal or whatever, keep that to yourself. If you've got somebody in your life, and I know for me, like one of the things that affected me a lot was in a relationship, I know in my brain I want that person that I'm with to have the ability, if they want to work, they can go work. And if they don't want to work, they don't have to work. I will figure it out so they can make that decision. That has actually bit me in the backside more times than not because I get myself into this bind where I'm doing all of the providing, and the moment they're like, well, we can't do this because we don't have the money for that or this, and then I'm like, okay, so I'm just worthless and I'm not making enough money. That's not what they said, but that's how I felt. And as a man, you don't want to come back to your significant other and go, hey, look, I know I told you, a year ago that you didn't have to work, but
you need to go get a job.
Right. The power bill had come in, and the thing about our bank is there's no money in it, so I'm going to need you to get, a job and help out. And so that's where we've got to cut out the outside world and just keep it on the inside world. Otherwise, we're just going to drown ourselves letting all of these outside sources come in and tell us what's up and what's going on. And it gets to a point where you start to feel alone because you're so afraid of telling the outside world the truth about what's going on the inside of your world because you don't want that judgment. You fear that negativity that they're going to come at you with. But you condition yourself to not tell them, and you don't tell the people inside your world because you're worried about how they're going to see you and how they're going to affect, make a move from there because, the guy who gets laid off or doesn't make enough money or can't do what he needs to do, he doesn't want to go tell his spouse that. He doesn't want to say, I'm failing because now you risk another loss. Like, okay, so she's going to look at me like a failure. She's going to walk out of my life. And then you tie that in because every man knows that the United States as a whole, judicial system, I don't think it's the judicial system, whatever the court system is that handles divorces and custodies and all that, we know that's geared against us. We know as men that's going to bite us in the butt. So you're looking at, if I tell her I'm a failure and she sees me as a failure, she's walking away. She's taking the kids. She's taking half of everything I own. She's taking the house, the car, everything. So we start to do the bottle up, and we take our world. We make a third world. We have that outside world. We have the inside world, and then we have the inside world where we close ourselves off. Yeah, and so a lot of guys, you see it on TikTok, you see it on Facebook. Everybody's saying, like, I'm alone. I never realized how lonely I was. you got to ask yourself, did you close the doors and make yourself that way? Did you put yourself in that boat? And it comes from where I come from, where my standpoint is coming from, is we recognize that there's an outside world, that you can let them look through the window, we shouldn't let them through the door. That inside world, if you're not willing to let them completely be inside your world, what are you doing? Calibrate and ask yourself, if I can't trust this person to be unapologetically vulnerable with, why are they on my inside world? Why are they not on the outside of my world? And as a man, I know that there are things that we can't tell our wife or our significant others or whatever, but you got to ask yourself why you can't do that. And I know some married men will say, well, the moment I tell her, hey, this is what makes me hurt, or this is what makes me vulnerable, we fear that coming back up 6 months later. And it's human nature to be in an argument and go straight for the throat. Like, it is what it is. I can't fault you there. But if whatever that is causing a turmoil in your relationship, find a way to go about mending that fence. Maybe not giving the full details or the full, problem, but you got to mend that fence to the point that they can feel comfortable and you can feel comfortable letting them in. And so I just want to clarify, if you're at a point where you ask yourself, or you're surrounded by people, or you're in busy places or whatever, and you say, man, I feel alone in this situation, start asking yourself, why are you alone? Why are you feeling that way? And if that's the case, and I know for me it used to be, I hated going with my ex-wife to work functions because I had nothing in common with these people. Like, none of them made anything that appealed to me as far as conversation-wise or personal-wise. And some of them probably could have been good people. But I know we went out for a birthday for one of our coworkers one night, and they had rented a party bus. They had rented out a restaurant. They'd rented out a bunch of rooms at the casino in Baton Rouge. And it was supposed to be this big, glorious thing. And I'll be honest with you. The ex had made this big deal about look, the kids will be with my mom and we're going to be at this hotel room. Some things might happen, and basically made it out to be that we were going to engage in some adult content with each other, not other people, just clarifying. So my brain had been, she knew that I didn't want to do this at all. And that was really the only way that I was going to go in with it. I'm an adult. It is what it is. So we go to the birthday thing at this restaurant, and it was terrible. I literally sat at a table full of people, hated everyone, hated every moment of it. It was just the worst thing ever. I didn't have anything in common with any of these people. Get on the party bus, and there's another guy and his wife on the bus, and this guy ended up being a veteran. Cool. We ended up having something to talk about. Things were going good. Everything was fine. We get to the casino, and this young lady whose birthday it is so drunk, she gets up to walk to the bar to get another drink, throws up all over this dance floor that she's walking down, does not stop, keeps going, gets to the bar. She's so drunk that I'm standing there telling a bartender, don't serve her anything else. This is dangerous. Nah, they didn't care. Gave her another drink. She goes back, sits down next to the trash can, looks at everyone and goes, I'm going to throw up again. Looks at the trash can and just throws up on the floor. And instead of doing anything about it, she just got up and moved. And I was just like, this is not my crowd. This is not the people I want to be around. And in that moment, I felt so lonely that the person that I'm with, I'm married to this person. We're a partner. And you don't even realize that I'm unhappy. You don't realize that I don't want to be here. And that was one of the moments in that relationship where I had to ask myself, do I really belong here? Do I belong with this person? Is this somebody who I should confide in and be a part of? And got up from that. And I literally just disconnected from all of it. I went to one of the slot machines, and I sat there for a good 2 hours. And was like, I can't leave because she's intoxicated, and I can't leave my intoxicated wife by herself, for numerous reasons. So when it was all said and done, time to go, I go get her and go back to the hotel room. Now my brain is still set on, I know that I'm supposed to get lucky. Get to the hotel room. I go to the bathroom, walk back out of the room. She's completely dressed, passed out. Dead to the world, passed out. I didn't sleep. I was that angry that I was just like, you've put me through just bullshit tonight. And I am that angry at you that I'm not even going to sleep. So I waited until she woke up the next morning and she's like, hey, we're going to go get breakfast. We're going to do X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, we'll find a ride home. And I left. I was like, nope, I don't even want to talk to you. Got in my truck, drove home. I sat in my driveway with her mom and my kids inside my house. I sat in my driveway for 2.5 hours. Just angry. Was not on the phone with anybody. I had the music turned up. Not loud enough to bother anybody, just loud enough where I didn't have to hear anything outside of that truck. And I sat in that truck for 2 hours to the point I had to leave and go get gas just to come back. And by the time I came back, I had calmed down enough that I could walk inside. And my ex-mother-in-law, she's like, and I was like, don't ask. Don't ask me if I'm okay, because I will come unglued at this point. And it was in those moments that I realized that the people that should have been asking, are you okay? Mm-hmm. Couldn't have cared less. Had no desire, was too worried about being the social, popular, circle of people to realize that somebody who was willing to do the things that I had done for her was unhappy with the situation. And I understand in relationships, we've got to step into that outside world and we've got to do things to appease that significant other or that partner. But partners have to start looking back and going, is this person happy and comfortable in the situations that I'm asking them to be in? You and I aren't typical guys that can go and be at the black tie events. We can do it.
Yourself.
Hey, let me finish.
I can do black tie like nobody's business. I'll be so sharp I can cut through concrete. Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We can do it.
Bow tie looking like James Bond over here.
We can do it. But the company that we do it with is what makes it comfortable or uncomfortable.
No. So here's the thing. I wouldn't invite you to black tie.
What?
Because
why not?
I can handle it. I'm comfortable in there.
I can do it.
I doubt it.
I didn't say I wanted to do it. That's the
episode.
difference.
Next episode.
That's the difference.
So,
okay. All right. You know what? I say we find, look, out there in internet land, if you have a black tie event anywhere in the Hammond, Louisiana, or I would say within 60-mile radius, okay? An hour of travel.
Ballers on a budget.
You getting 60 miles. That's all we got. All right. You having a black tie event, any fancy dress event. That's what it is. All right. We will come to your event. All right. And you let us know who can cut concrete, as he put it.
So sharp. Looking so sharp, you cut concrete.
That's the dumbest, most perfect expression I've ever heard. It's good. We will come to your black tie event just to prove a point. All right. But my whole point is we as individuals, I'm not saying men or women, you've got to focus on your inner circle and make sure that not only are you paying attention to that inner circle and what's making the world, your inner world, what's making it spin is doing the same thing for you. If to keep it on a fair spectrum, if you're looking at your significant other, your friends and everything else, and you're putting everything into it to keep your world spinning and everybody's happy, you got to make sure that everybody that's in that world is also helping spin in the same direction. They're not dragging wheels or messing up the rotation of your world. And you got to start closing out the outside world. We've got to keep that separate from the inside world, because that inside world is fragile. That's your space. It's just like your house. It's just like your vehicle. That's your safe, inner place where you can be yourself, unapologetically yourself. Where I'm comfortable walking around in my house without pants on, because it's my home. I don't want the neighbor to come over and I'm standing in my boxers on my front yard. That's that outside world semblance. But I just went on a little thing there. Just had thrown a little razzle dazzle, some family life, and I don't know. You can drag this out, buddy. You got 7 more minutes to make an hour.
Guys, I want to say thank y'all for taking a moment and watching this episode. If you think we're on point, let us know.
Yep.
If there's something you disagree with, or you want to throw another thought process into it, or something else for us to consider, because we're not perfect. We're definitely fallible.
I'm glad
creatures.
you brought that up. Because
Send us an email. It's coffeeandthebull@yahoo.com. We look forward to hearing from you, and we will definitely respond to you. And even if you don't want to send an email, send a comment, whether it be through Facebook or TikTok, or any of those platforms, whatever you're listening in. Because we've had somebody reach out to us, and we're kind of having a conversation with them. We'll notify y'all that in upcoming episodes. But we want to make this podcast where it's you with us, not just listening to us. We want to have an impact on what you let you have a voice in it, and have a helping hand in making some of the content. Because that's what this is all about, is us having a conversation. We don't need to be afraid to have a basic conversation with each other. So
before we go off, there was a comment on one of our TikToks that I wanted to address really
good job
fast.
on having that ready to go.
I got it right here. So on the old TikTok, a gentleman by the name of Travis Long stated, real men don't need a pile of friends. We need 3 dudes we can call and know that no matter what it is, that we can call them. One of them is en route or has an answer to the issue we have. So his thought process is that we need at least 3 friends that we can do that with. Not saying he's wrong, because sometimes you can find that guy in one guy. Sometimes you do need 3. So just want to let you know, Mr. Long, we got your comment. We did read it. We agreed with you. That's why we didn't comment back, but we definitely love the comment. And look, if you give us comments, you give us shout outs, you give us whatever it is, we're going to address you. We're going to let you know that we saw it. We're going to let you know that we appreciate you. We love the feedback that you've given us. So as Mike's already said, coffeeandthebull@yahoo.com. Shoot us that email. Like, follow, subscribe, and share. You can catch us on the YouTube, the Facebook, Spotify, TikTok, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. We're on Instagram. Forgive me, I'm not really good at posting on that, and we are currently working on, what's the X one? Is that Twitter? Is that what X is?
I think so.
Yeah, we're working on our Twitter page.
No,
I am. It's up. It's just not no content's out on it yet. I'm still building and putting it together, and we are still working on a web page coming soon. With that, hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. Hope you guys have a good New Year coming around. Remember, don't drink and drive.
Without further ado,
here it comes. So stupid.
toodaloo.
Yep. Yeah.